loading snacks.
What's going on, everybody? The Loading Snack Boys are back for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to spoil Marvel's Echo. All 5 episodes came out at the same time. Each average around 40 minutes or so a piece. Quick little run through. So we're about to jump into all of this, dive into it, and just discuss this kind of as a whole since it was a quick little watch. But you know how we like to start things? Where do we rank it? Jokes, I'm going to start with you. Where do you rank it right now at the top of the list?
I give it a 7. I'm at a 7.
Okay. I am personally at about a 6. You don't like 6 with it. Gage, what about you?
I think I'm at a 6.
Okay. I know you were saying before, like, yeah, you had some things you want to talk about. I completely feel and agree with you on that.
Yeah.
So let's just not waste no time, but let's just get into it. One of the first things I want to know is, how do we feel about the TVMA rating on this? Like, did it hit for you? Did it not? Like, where are you feeling with that right now for their first run out with a more adult show?
I mean, I think they did okay. I mean, clearly with some of the gun violence and things that we had in here, the snapping of necks. I mean, it was only like 1 or 2 of those, but I think it was definitely pushing the envelope a little bit more than what we would see from typical MCU movies, shows than what we normally would see. So I do think they did make it a little more edgy, and so we could see a few more things, gunshots, splatters, things like that we wouldn't necessarily see unless it's like an alien or like a robot or something like that. So I think they did push it a little bit. I don't necessarily think it was as over the top or as crazy as probably what we were thinking it was truly going to be when they said TVMA. Like, I don't think they went super hard, but I think they pushed it a little bit more than what typical MCU would be.
I hear that. I would kind of agree. I think they just crossed that threshold to make it TVMA, to get that rating on it. I was hoping personally for a little bit more of Daredevil-ish kind of, action. I wasn't expecting with the MA part, like the sex part. It's Disney. Wasn't looking for that. But like action-wise, like now that you have, all the Defender shows on Disney Plus and everything, and what Netflix did with those, I wanted to be at least on that level as far as the action and brutality went, and it didn't hit that mark for me personally. What about you, Gage?
No, it didn't. I don't know that they could really achieve that and balance it out with only 5 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
This was clearly supposed to be more than that. I know that there are whole storylines that got cut. As a matter of fact, our good friend Catherine Dyer, who we met at like NovaCon, did a post, with her saying that her, she enjoyed working on the show, but her entire storyline was cut. Right, so we know that there was more to it that they just didn't show, and I think that I think with only 5 episodes, if they had actually managed to reach the kind of level of violence that Daredevil and Jessica Jones did, I feel like it would have been too much. I think they did. I think they did it right for the amount of episodes there were, because you're comparing something that only has 5 episodes to something that has 13. You know what I mean? In a season. So we're talking less than half. You know what I mean, of the same amount of time. So like, when you're really kind of trying to build the character, this is the fact that it's Marvel Spotlight, right? Which means that the spotlight shows are supposed to be things that if you're not caught up on the MCU, if you've never watched anything MCU, you're supposed to be able to watch this and not have to worry about having, the backstories or whatever in it, right? So to kind of try to fill in who Echo is, what's going on with her, what her storyline is, blah, 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 and do it only in 5 episodes and have stuff that's cut. Like, I just feel like I'm going to assume that what they cut for good reason. Either it didn't work or whatever, but I feel like some of that stuff that would have been the more violent stuff that I feel like would have satisfied that need of mine and yours, Sin, to kind of like, all right, you said TVMA, you get that visceral. I'm trying to see it.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. But then there's a part of me that feels like if it had been there, it might have felt like there was too, like it might have ended up feeling like they were overdoing it for the sake of this being their first run at doing a TVMA joint. And I feel like people would have been like, they trying too hard there, whatever. And I think that's how I would have felt too. So even though I was disappointed at what it was, I actually think it was the right call, to be honest. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Can somebody explain to me her power set? Because I thought she didn't have powers coming into this. So that's one of the things that threw me off going into it, like seeing her ancestors and them getting out the cave and everything. And when I seen her hands glowing, I was like, I didn't know this was the powers kind of thing. I thought this was more like street level, kind of ground level stuff. And as it went on, she got the glow and was able to pass it to her women, her ancestors and the family members at the end of it, which, whatever. But if I'm correct, that's not her power set in the comics. Can somebody just explain that to me? Because I know y'all probably know better than I do.
I believe she does have abilities in the comics. Now,
She has powers in the comics.
Yeah, I'm not 100% versed with them, but I've seen instances where she's used them. I just wasn't exactly sure how they were going to do it. Obviously, from watching Hawkeye, and we really didn't get any of that. It just seemed like initially she was just going to be like just this badass, kick your ass type of character and anything else. So I didn't know how they were necessarily going to write it in. They shoehorned it, I guess, a little bit in there for it. But other than just being...
dog, it's not even close. It's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close to being what her... Like, whatever they decided they were doing with this, they just pulled that shit out the air as far as I'm concerned. That's how I feel. Like, that joint made me curse. I don't even... Like,
okay.
Because the way it started, the way it started with doing the whole thing and showing them having those abilities and stuff, I was like, okay, this is not what I was expecting how this was going to start off for it. So
100%. 100% the way it started out. So when the first episode, when it came on, I was like, all right, we doing too much. And I'll be honest, after the first episode, I was like, all right, they about to turn Youngin into a mutant. Say that she has mutant powers, her powers just manifested. Wham, let's go. X-Men, let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, it just changed my whole perspective. Technically, in the comic books, she's called Echo because her abilities are basically the same as like what Taskmaster can do. She has the ability to mimic other people's abilities. She can, like, if she sees somebody do something, she can basically do what they do. That's part of why her name is Echo. She can kind of like repeat what she sees and learn. Like, she's an accomplished like concert classical pianist in the comics, and she does become like a lot of the story is right. Like, she is Fisk's right hand man, quote unquote. He does bring her in basically to be able to fight off Daredevil. Like, a lot of that is right, but her ability and that set, as a matter of fact, like, she's not even like pure like Native American in the comics. In the comics, she's also like Latin American. So her roots are a bit different than what they did with this too. So I think part of what it is, they leaned a little more into the Native American side of it and chose to kind of push, like, they really did talk to like the Choctaw people to make sure what they were doing was respectful and it was okay, and it actually did line up with what their ancestral stories are, which is cool. What I'm gonna tell you is that in this joint, dog, I don't know what her powers are.
Okay, I don't feel as
I
bad
have no
anymore.
idea.
Like I was lost.
I have no idea what now. Here's what I'll say, and this is so. Here's the thing, bro.
No,
All right,
hey,
You
look,
saw
let's-
my man
look,
shifting.
hey, look.
You saw he shifting
Hey, look.
gears there.
Well, see, after this, I was gonna say, all right, let's talk about the issues we have with it, but we're already here, so let's just keep it going with the issues we have with Echo. Let's just keep going.
it's not. I mean, all right. If you want issues, here's where I'm at. The last episode of this joint was absolute trash. It was trash. The whole episode was trash. What kind of trash? Garbage trash. Like it was Circular File 13. Like I'm in England. It was rubbish. It was rubbish, dog. Like it was trash. It didn't like it just kind of happens, bro. It's just like we gotta end this, and we better end it with something. And so give her a thing and let her do something. And when she does that thing, nobody's gonna know why. We just know that she got powers that came from old people. You know what I'm saying? That she has. Why she can pass that joint to other people?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I had to like rationalize it in my head. Like, all right, that is her grandmother and like her cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
So like they're in the same line as she is. But why her joints manifested, what it has to do with her mother, the fact that her mother can heal things, like, are you telling me, dog, that you've been running around for like 20 years, dog, and in the back of your head, you shot a woodpecker with a pebble to force your mother to heal? Like you knew your mother could do that, and you just gonna make her do that joint? Like you knew your mother got powers. Like they left so much out. Like there's a part of me that's just like, all right, she gets in an accident in the car with her mother. Her leg is, her mom's supposed to be able to reach over and heal the joint. You know what I mean? And just be like, all right, you good, or heal herself. All right, you good. All of that's like on the cutting room floor. So like, for the most part, to be honest, I'm good up through episode 4. I'm cool up through episode 4. Episode 5, dog. Nah.
It was just like, we gotta end it. Like it was just literally that comment, like, we gotta end this show. And I feel like you said, this show was I believe episode 5 is the shortest of all 5 episodes. And literally it was just like a chop fest. Like they just took everything. I hated, and listen, I hated the way, dog, I may get to a 6. Like when dude showed up in like the RV jump and just drove through, and that whole setup, and then the other group show up in like the 2 white box trucks. I'm thinking like nobody is seeing, like, clearly they don't belong here or whatever.
I mean, again, hold on. I will say this. They did say people come from like all over the country to see their powwow. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll give them that. No, I don't know if you know, it's a powwow that happens up the street from us every year.
Nope.
Every year, bro.
Nope.
Like where 301 turns into, with Route 5 and 301 become one joint. It's a whole. They do a powwow over that joint every year, bro. People come from all over to go to the joint. So like I'm okay, cool. You know, I was okay with that to an extent, because they even had the scene where my man is running his pawn shop, and the 2 people are in there like, we want, whatever, and he's like, nah, dog, like this ain't even, like, and you kind of see how they act. So it's like, I was okay with that. The fact that like nobody really paid them any mind, I was alright with that. That wasn't that big a deal to me. Everything else about the joint, dog, are you telling me this band of biscuits built a Bigfoot? Listen,
that was not what I was expecting him to go
like,
get.
Hold up, bro.
It was like, yeah, I got
this
the
make
right.
sense.
Everything
Where
the
was
light
it?
touches
Where was
is
it?
yours. That's the best part of that episode, is the Lion King reference. Everything the light touches is yours. Dog, everything in that junkyard was the same vehicle. All of them joints was the same joint. They was all the same vehicle that he ruined of his grandmother's. Like, I don't understand what he found. Where he get them tires from? What in...
Dog, I have no clue.
Yeah,
Did not see that coming.
This, you know why?
Because it was
'Cause
dumb.
it's dumb.
It's dumb. Dog, the last episode of that joint it's rubbish. It's trash. And here's the thing. Even though I feel like I like the first 4 episodes, the last episode is such a letdown that like it dropped me way down, right? And again, like when the first episode ended, I was like, you know what? They might be really getting ready to do something. Like in the comics, bro, like Echo ends up, and here's the thing. In my head, I'm like, yo, you know, we've talked multiple times about, all right, if you don't do Kang, if you try to do Doctor Doom, do Galactus, like where do you go from there? If we're leaning towards an Avengers versus X-Men thing, the Avengers versus X-Men thing is about the Phoenix, right? And they have the X-Men become the Phoenix Force 5, right? The Avengers are like fighting with them about it. Hey, dog, Echo becomes the Phoenix. There's a whole run. There's a whole Phoenix saga about her being the Phoenix and having the powers of the Phoenix. Which, like, honestly, if you found a way to like tie that to like the Choctaw Nation and them having like some kind of a bird joy, I'm like, they could really do something with this. So like when they started leaning a little heavier into stuff that like isn't really like what her power set is or whatever, like by the end of the first episode, I was like, hey, you know what, dog? If they're pushing for the Phoenix, the way we've talked about, what do you do?
Yeah,
if you're trying to figure out what the next big bad is that isn't really a bad, that's the joint.
That's a good way to go.
That is a solid way to go. That's a solid tie-in.
Hey, dog, it veered so far from like what that was, dog, that I'm like, I don't know what they do. I don't know what they're doing. Other than confirming for us that Wilson Fisk is going to be the new street level Thanos because my man is getting ready to run from Mayor straight. Like,
hey, I was there when he hit that, and I was like, "Oh, New York." Oh,
I was like, "Okay, now I see where we're going with this."
Here we go again.
Okay,
here we go again.
And a lot of it feels like all of what we went through was just to get to that. Just to get to that end credit scene of him doing that, which for all intents and purposes, in one way or another, they could have stuck that joint on the end of almost anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like here's the thing. Somebody tell me what she did to him. He straight up said to her, what are you doing?
All right, Jokes. How do you feel about them setting up Wilson Fisk to be the street level big bad?
Listen, I'm good with it. Honestly, Wilson Fisk, he can be that street level big bad, but at the same time, let's say this dude does. I'm gonna go into something to say this dude's gonna win and become mayor of New York City.
That's right. It just, I think it excels the story. Like, you're giving him more power. Now he's in control of like the police force and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I like that idea.
I'm eager to see how that affects, like, you know, our heroes that are in New York City. Obviously, Echo is I'm guessing gonna make it back to New York at some point if that were to happen. That adds her into the fold of everything else. But I think that really, because listen, Kingpin is a threat. Like, outside of even being street level, like, I don't know if they're gonna make him like superhuman strong or anything like that somehow at some point in time.
I mean,
but like in the comics, like this dude could literally fight the likes of Spider-Man and like it literally go fist to fist with him. I don't know if they'll even explore that or if it'll just be the Wilson Fisk will just be, you know, that intimidating figure that you have. Like, listen, I'm gonna come for your loved ones, so let me do what I need to do. Otherwise, your loved ones are going to be in trouble, as he did demonstrate in Echo.
Yes, he did. All right, let me get into another issue of mine. You tell me how you feel about this. I love the fact that they did the whole sign language thing through it. Like,
I loved it.
The majority of it was sign language, you know, because the character is deaf and you know, and a mute as well. Here's the issue I had with it though. It's tough when you do something that's majority of sign language if your actors and actresses like they have to play into like the emotion part of it. Like since you're not talking, you don't have the inflection in people's voices and stuff like that. So you have to sell it through body language and emotion. And I was having a problem with Maya the whole time. Like she was hit or miss for me when it came to it. I thought the cast was great. Her grandmother, the young version of Maya, Bonnie. I thought everybody else was great as far as adding the emotion into it. But for some reason, when it came to Maya, like she wasn't having the passion that I needed from her. In certain moments, it was lackluster, and then it was like just okay. In some moments when she really, I feel like had to sell it and deliver it. That's one issue that I personally had with it. What about? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I missing something?
I think I was okay. I do agree there could have been times where the emotion behind certain things probably could have been a little bit more, but I think she, at least for the few moments that I think of, like when she went to her grandmother's house and, you know, they were having the conversation, I felt like that one got a little heated towards the end of the conversation than anything else before she stormed out. I feel like the conversation that she had with her grandmother and probably the ones that she had with Fisk, I think were probably where most of the emotions were at that she did present. But outside of the two of them, probably not. Everything just seemed very straightforward. But like you said, you gotta probably do a little bit more. And for us, you know, this was really my first experience watching something. Like obviously we watch anime, so we watch stuff with subtitles. So that for us, that's nothing new.
Reading is easy. It's when they have to decide and put the gaps in between the words, like it stretches out the scenes because it takes longer to get those sentences out. I just needed her on the emotional level to make me believe her half the time, where she just wasn't. Like I can tell like you're just acting. Like I don't feel like you're really like emotional, like you're really that mad in this moment, or like
I get what you're
really
saying.
Emotional to want to cry in this moment. And that's something I had a problem with. But that's something that, of course, with rehearsal and practice and training, you know what I'm saying, you can get better at. But overall, like I said, I did like the whole sign language aspect to it. Something different that I didn't have a problem with it at all. I loved it.
Nothing here either.
Another issue that I had, and it goes to the things being left on the floor, like having stuff in there, but you take out, I guess, all the stuff that's supposed to make it come full circle and everything. Like the relationship with her and Bonnie was something that I really wanted to get into.
Yeah, agree.
But they never really got into it. She's making shadow puppets in a tent. Then she has to leave. And that was years later, and just off of that right there, we're made to believe that they had this inseparable bond that lasts the test of time all this time. Ooh, when Bonnie get back, when Maya comes back, don't say nothing to Bonnie. Yeah. It's like the whole town knows about this secret between them two. But I never got that really sold to me in the show, and it was frustrating. Because I wanted to see them reunite, and because they never show like issues like the phone call she tried reaching out a bunch of times. Like they don't really go into it like that. You just left up to your own imagination, and it was frustrating because they were making it seem like it was such a big part to the overall story, and it didn't deliver on that. You feel me on that?
I can agree with that. Definitely setting it up, and then having, obviously we then move from seeing her past, and then we see her get injured. Mom, of course, passes, and then we have Dad. It was just, and then we just hit the time jump, and we kind of recap some of the stuff that happened within Hawkeye. And then we were on to really nailing on her story at that point for us. So I definitely understand where you're coming from on there. And like, obviously cutting room floor, we probably could have seen some of the times where she was trying to communicate, ignoring text messages, ignoring phone calls, just to kind of give it that more tense feeling between the relationship at that point.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Jay Jones asking him, like, one of the issues I had with it was I was looking forward to that Maya and Bonnie storyline. Speaking of things that got put on the cutting room floor and all that kind of stuff, I was looking to see, like, how all that was going to come full circle with her leaving and everything. And they never really gave it to us in the show, and I was disappointed in that. Like, we see them playing in the tent, doing the shadow puppets, and then next she has to leave. And then once we're all grown up, they set it up to seem like they had this timeless sisterhood between them, and like we didn't really get to see any of that build up. We didn't get to see any of the Bonnie trying to reach out to her over time and her ignoring her, like to build up that whole storyline. And then when she gets back to town, it's this whole big secret. Don't let her know she's in town. Don't let her know she's in town. Like it felt like the whole town was in on it. But like they just never like really sold to me, and I thought it just fell flat. But as I've learned, like they put things on the cutting room floor. What about you?
I mean, the idea of her being in town, and it's cool if everybody knows except Bonnie and her grandmother. Like, don't tell them, right? It's like, it's weird, but like, shout out to Bonnie, she bad. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Echo, she bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shout out to Bonnie though. Listen, my man Biscuits blew the whole story trying to sell that.
Hey, bruh.
To fix that truck, bruh. Biscuits, bruh.
As soon as he dropped by his name, I was like, dude.
Like, just so casually.
Because they kind of set up Biscuits when they're kids. But you never see them.
Right.
You never see Biscuits. Then all of a sudden, you see Biscuits. you never see Slim, right? And then
that threw me off
shows up. And the first person you see is Biscuits. He like, oh, it's me, Biscuits. And it's like, we're supposed to know who he is.
Yeah.
And we don't. Because they had to have cut all of it.
I was so thrown off by that. I'm glad you said that. Because it was asking me Biscuits. I was like, do I need to rewind? Was there a little dude back when they was chilling, having a little party or whatever?
Nah, dog.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Okay.
You know? Like, it just is. There are parts of it that add up and are fine for me. You know what I mean? But and again, like, it's cool to see her kind of do what she does, but again, like, they don't really do a great job of explaining like why she's so dope, like why she's so like, I get that she trained from the time she was very young, whatever, but like, why can she hold her own with Daredevil and like nobody else can? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like, I felt like they were leaning into that some. You know what I mean? Like, because there's that moment, that first time that she goes on that very first mission that he sends her on, and it like, she has one of those little ancestral moments kind of things or whatever, and then like it all just kind of kicks in. You know what I mean? But they don't really. It could have been cool if everything he did, she was able to just kind of do. Because as a matter of fact, she technically beat him. You know what I mean? And ended up being like, he was like, man, I'm about to dump this whole shelf on Shorty. She beat the best of me. Like, I got to get low. Now, he was kind of toying with her at first. And then she starts to like, get it. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And I'm like, okay. I feel like they about to lean into like what her comic appearances is really like, and kind of give a reason why, you know what I mean, some of that kicks in, and they just didn't do it. And it feels to me like they were afraid. And I'm like, you really could have done it, because you didn't really do it with Taskmaster. Like, I feel like you could have done that with Echo. We didn't really get Taskmaster, who, by the way, is still out there somewhere, technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, I mean, look, first episode I think was a great backstory and explainer, and kind of catches you up and allows you to see some things that kind of put her in a position where she is, right? And they give you the like Hawkeye flashbacks or whatever. Cool. By the time the second one comes around, you're kind of dealing with whatever it is that this second ancestor is or whatever, and like they're starting to lean a little more into that, the Choctaw, and like the ancestral like things are starting to kick in for you, whatever. But it's like, I think there's an expectation, fair or not, that because Daredevil kind of doesn't have powers, but like, because here's the thing, nobody who's fighting Daredevil knows Daredevil is blind. They don't know he can't see it, right? But he has these heightened senses that come from the fact that he lost the sense, which is a thing that really happens to people. Like, if you lose your sight or you lose your hearing, other senses of yours, your sense of smell, your touch, your like, it kicks in. It gets it gets better, right? So for him, there is a bit of an ability to like explain that when he lost his sight, other things kicked in and he gets the hearing and he, you know what I mean? And they kind of slowly go through that over the course of 3 seasons, but like in that first season, they really kind of show you how that could be the case. And that he's trained and he's kind of learned how to do things and he knows how to, you know, like stitch himself up because he stitched his father up from fighting. And like they give you backstory of the fact that his father was a boxer who got beat a lot, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things about him is like he could really take a hit. He can take the damage, he can take punishment. Okay, well, you got that same trait, you know what I'm saying, as your father. It's just a hereditary thing. It's not like a superpower or a special ability or whatever. So like when you tie Daredevil and Echo together, you kind of get this idea that like, all right, well, she's got additional abilities that allow her to see or do things because she doesn't have her hearing, right? So maybe her sight is a little better and her sense of feeling from like the ground is a little better. So you like, you should for all intents and purposes be able to sneak up on her, but you can't because she can detect like the slightest footstep or something like that. But then like they just walk up on her in the woods and yank her, though. Like they just grab her, you know what I'm saying, off the street. And I'm like, you know, she shows up, Fisk walks out. She like, oh man, Fisk, let me grab my helmet. Let me get ready because it's about to be something. And then like 10 dudes surround her and they grab her. She has no idea them dudes is there. And I'm like,
right,
what are we doing? Because it makes sense because she can't hear, you know what I'm saying? However,
she can do everything else, all this other like stuff.
Bro, like she be in a fight
and
just be punishing people everywhere. And I'm just like, you gotta pick a lane, bro. Like you gotta pick a lane. Y'all know how I am. My suspension of disbelief is incredible. As long as you fill the world with believable things for me to suspend that disbelief around. So what is it? What can she do? Why is she such a great fighter? I'm willing to accept that she has some additional abilities. She shows up and she just better than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Including Daredevil, who's like, this is not, hey Slim, this is full suit with the cane with the ripcord joint. Like this ain't regular Daredevil.
No, this ain't the all black.
Yeah. This bust your ass Daredevil. This ain't no regular Daredevil. She on her very first joint. And Jai like toe to toe with him. She gotta be okay. She gotta be something. Nah, dog. Regular Slim who work in the skating rink snuck up on Youngin and dragged her to the skate. I'm like, man, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And like that, if it wasn't for the fact that there was like a semi-decent fight scene in there, which again, less about the fighting and less about her actual abilities and more about the venue in which they're fighting. Oh, dog, I thought this was a skating rink. They got like a whole haunted house joint in the back with the black lights or whatever. Like, I don't know.
A little bit of everything. It's
what
like,
type of state palace is this? I'm lost in this
person. They went into business for one thing. He's like, you know what? I want to do this instead. Start adding that to it and just kept changing and started adding. I don't know.
Hey, listen, dog, that whole skating rink is a front for whatever Slim is running for Fisk. I get it. I get that. But like,
make it make sense.
No, here's the other thing, right? This youngin', she jumped off a train.
Yeah.
Onto the front of a. You have any idea how fast the train goes, bro?
Yes.
Much faster than that damn truck will go.
But do you have any idea how fast that truck had to be going to keep up with that, to catch the train? Not to keep up with the train.
Pedal to the floor.
You understand what I'm saying?
Not to mention that John was over rough terrain, like not no smooth, nice concrete.
Nah.
Hey, dog, she
ate it.
She ate that joint, flipped over the top, landed in the bed of the joint, and smiled. Hey, dog. I'm like, she's unstoppable. I'm like, yo, she's incredible. And it don't make no sense. It like of all the times for her ancestral abilities to kick in, it doesn't kick in when she's jumping and she's about to land on the train and we about to give you the power to survive this jump. It kicks in while her fake leg is stuck in the, you know what I'm saying? While her prosthetic is stuck in the train, dragging her along. And I'm like, nah, but like, you can disconnect that prosthetic from your knee and keep it moving. I ain't saying you gonna be hopping. It ain't gonna be pretty, but you ain't got to ride this.
Get out of that situation,
right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna keep it a buck. If you could jump off the top of that train onto a moving truck that's coming at you at least at 100 miles an hour, mind you, you're jumping towards the joint.
Yep.
You could disconnect that joint and take a tumble off the side into the grass, dog, and just and
like
get up.
Just
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's, you know, again, I'm here for the excitement. I'm here for the spectacle. That's cool. You have to make the things that your protagonists do make sense with the abilities that, you know what I'm saying, that they have. And so, like, as much as and really, for real, here's the thing. Where I was going was like, she blew up an entire warehouse.
Hey, bro.
Oh yeah, every inch of it.
What, like? So here's my thing.
That explosion just kept going down the line.
No, it was only like three people that were outside of that building when that joint blew up. Everybody died. Man, when this dude showed up, he showed up like he had. Where did he get all them extra people? And why, dog? Why, if you're there for this one woman, why did you bring 17 dudes, 8 cars, you know what I'm saying, whatever, from New York for this one joint, especially when you get there and you acting like you think Slim is lying to you? Where's she at? She better be here. This better not be fake. You brought an army, a militia with you. Why would you bring that many people? I would have sent somebody. Go down there and see if it's real. Not going all the way down there.
You just pull up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Why did you come if you thought it might be fake? Fan out, find it. Meanwhile, Slim is like, nah, but like, you should show me the money first.
No, he was trying so hard.
I was like, bro, you about to get shot any second now.
Just stop, dude. I'm already said, dude don't have no money. You finna get bust already.
And I was with it. Hey, look, Slim told him, you think they gonna come down here and pay you? I'm not taking orders from you anymore. No, you ain't taking no orders now.
No,
you're gonna take that bullet from Slim in a second.
Yeah, you taking orders from pistols. So there are, listen, I want to make it clear. There are things I like about this show. Because right now, I'm just having a field day going in on the joint.
Right.
That's mostly because I'm angry about the way it ended and like where I felt like they could have / should have gone. I still think there is a lot of potential with the direction that they're heading, because they basically touched on Daredevil. Everybody else, like, I don't know if you saw that, like, today or yesterday, they're like, nah, they really supposed to be bringing back, like, Deborah Ann Wall and, like, they're supposed to be bringing Karen Page back and all of that. Okay. Right? And that, like, all right, let's go get Jessica Jones, dog. Let's stop playing around. Bring everybody except Iron Fist, dog. Because technically...
And Mike Coulter is Luke Cage.
I think... Yeah, I don't need him either. But, like, I think... Echo is the new Iron Fist. Like, I don't know, dog. Her hands was glowing,
I was gonna ask y'all, is she a defender now? Like, is she gonna be one of the defenders?
She's supposed to be an Avenger, dog. Like, she is. She joins the Avengers. She's an Avenger.
Okay.
I just want to make that clear that, like, in the comics anyway,
she's an actual Avenger.
She's an Avenger.
Okay.
And that she ends up with the Phoenix Force. Like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's happening right now. with the MCU. And I still feel like there's a lot of potential. I don't know if certain storylines got cut. I saw things that said like it got cut for like budgetary reasons. Like they didn't have the budget for certain things, which is kind of like,
how?
what do you mean?
What do you
know what I mean?
mean?
Like, but also then I'm like, maybe they cut certain things because they're changing the direction, you know what I'm saying, of what they were planning to do going forward. And so some things had to go on the cutting room floor. Like I do feel like Alaqua Cox is a great Echo. I like the character. I like what they did with her. I'm in love with the acting. I'm happy to see Wilson Fisk back on the scene in some manner, right? I am overjoyed with how conniving and manipulative he is, and how like no matter what he's doing, you have no idea whether you can trust him or not. But that relationship they established with him and her, that is very much Thanos and Gamora. He really does love her. He really does want her by his side. He's actually not mad that she shot him.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you are perfect. Like I raised you to, that's exactly what I raised you to do. Now just don't ever do that to me again.
Right. I only got
we about to go run. Let's go run this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want somebody side by side. And she was kind of amped to have it. Like, yo, he about to make me queen pin. Like I'm about to be it. All right. I love the moments of like her getting into it with her grandmother, having that anger, talking to people and being like, yo, you left me. Like I was a child. I needed you. I was by myself. I didn't have anyone, right? Even with her father being there, you know what I mean? She's like, I was alone. And here's the thing. The thing that probably angers me the most about that is that like her being angry at her grandmother and being like, you never wrote me, you didn't come get me, you could have came and seen me, and understanding where her grandmother is of like, you remind me so much of your mother that it hurt so bad to like do it. Like I get that, and I was there for those emotional moments. At the same time, she mad at Slim from the roller skating rink, she mad at Biscuits, she mad at her grandmother, and it seemed like she mad at Bonnie, and Bonnie's like, nah, Slim, I called you, I texted you, I wrote you letters, I whatever, and you ignored all of it. So like for you to be here and saying everybody left me and nobody cared and nobody reached out and nobody looked out for me, on the flip side of it, there was somebody there who was constantly reaching out to you, apparently, constantly trying, and you was ignoring them so much that even when you in town and all they want to do is see you and say what's up to you and give you a hug, I don't got time for her. I'm just ignoring that joint. I'm acting like I don't like, how'd she get your number? How'd she get your number, dog? You know what I'm saying? Like somebody put in the effort to love you, to make, you know what I'm saying? To you know, to make that effort to find you, to be with you, to show you they care, to show you they missed you. And yet at the same time, you're angry at everybody there for doing none of those things. And the person who did do all those things, you ignored them. So like, were you angry at Bonnie because Bonnie got to stay and you didn't? You know what I'm saying? Like just again, we never touch on any of that. Yeah. So it's just a lot of it that don't make sense.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else either you two gentlemen need to get off your chest before we get out of here and close this down that we haven't already touched on with Echo?
I think we've hit on all the main thing. Honestly, one of my only favorite parts, like I would say truly favorite part, when Kingpin confronted her when she was at her grandmother's house, and you know, when all the squad showed up, and like we initially thought he was going to actually do something, he was actually just giving her the contact lens so she could actually see him talk and do the sign language. I thought that was one of the coolest things that I've probably ever seen. To think like, yo, is that something, maybe could we actually see that in real life? Because that literally, for like a Kingpin that obviously he knew certain things that he could say to talk to her and communicate, but he always had to have that translator with him at all times for them to really have the communication back and forth. I just thought that was just super cool.
Dog, why'd he kill the translator? All right.
Because he's a bad
Kingpin.
guy.
Kingpin.
Like
I don't know.
saying,
Hey, listen.
She knows too much right now.
he's
We
like,
got to
it's
cycle
you and
him
me
out.
against the world. She knows too much. I'm like, the dudes who took her out know everything
No
she knows.
thing knows. So you should be taking all of them out. Hey, listen, I don't know. Either that or she walked into some room, walked in some place, saw something extra that she should. I don't know.
Cutting room
I don't
floor.
know.
Nah. I do like. I mean, I think you're right. I think that was cool. I think there's a chance that maybe Fisk is the person who's buying Avengers Tower, and it's not. There's also the possibility that like he's buying it and maybe is funding the Fantastic Four. That he starts doing stuff like that again to just seed himself into the like intricacies of what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see Spider-Man having to like. Again, he's street level now. Having to take the job of the Daily Bugle and having to take
And
pictures
do
of
all
Fisk and find stuff out or whatever to, to deal with it. And, like I think there's a lot of potential in what they're doing with that. Look, I think the show. I overall, I don't think it's a bad show. I think the ending is terrible. I think that watching the first 4 episodes.
Lead up to that point.
That last episode will make you throw up. Like it's like, because I don't. As a person who prides myself on paying attention to the details and like being very accepting of like this is how it is in the comics, but like they're doing it different here, and that's cool. You know what I mean, or whatever. I have no idea what happened at the end of that joint.
No, I expected when she got surrounded, I was like, okay, she looked at Bonnie like, trust me on this. Like, she about to get busy. She's surrounded. She about to get busy with his hands.
Right.
That's what I thought.
That's what
And
I thought was going
none
to happen.
of that happened. I was like,
No, dog.
what?
No.
What is this? That's not what we were supposed to get here.
Hey, listen,
She
best
got
part
the
of that
glow.
Hey, listen, best thing out of that,
Bonnie,
gave it to grandma,
Grandma.
and grandma sucker punched that dude.
That was
Hey,
soccer
listen.
dudes.
Hey, but dog. Then she goes into Wilson Fisk's mind, which I'm like, okay, this is what happened to her. Like her mother came into her mind, had to calm her mind, show her things, whatever, kind of like heal her. All right, so is she using her healing ability? She's like trying to calm his mind, make him forget about, like release his anger.
Yeah.
And stop being so angry at the fact that his father beat his. Like I like that he eventually told her, like he kind of lied to her up front and was like, my father also died when I was young and I never, whatever.
Yeah.
And then
All right, let me tell you the truth.
eventually comes clean. Take the hammer, do what you have to do to be in order to, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like sounding just like he did when he was Edgar on Men in Black. It's just like.
Funny, that's actually on right now.
Take that, do, whatever. And, whatever. For whatever reason, she can't do it. But her going in his mind to calm that down, I'm like, all right. Is he coming out of this a changed man? Is he coming out of this? And then he's like literally saying to her, what did you do to me? What did you do to me?
I think that was the attempt to try to have
I'm saying, what you do to him? What did you do? What happened to him?
Yeah, because
And
it doesn't look
we
like
know-
it changed him.
Yeah.
It's like it
And
just
then we
pissed
know-
him off more.
Right.
My man
Like,
getting low.
he also like refused to like give in to, so that's the
Yeah.
thing, like she's saying let it go, forget about it, and he's saying no. So then when it comes out, I'm thinking, all right, it didn't work, she about to have to wrestle him. Nah,
He just
She
get in the
comes
car
out.
and leave.
Nah, he got
And
low.
he's begging
He got
her.
low.
What did you
and then he
do?
ran away.
What did you do?
What'd you do to me? And then he gets on his plane.
You don't know. We don't know what happened.
Well, I have no idea what happened. I don't know. I don't know what she did. I don't know what her powers are. I don't know how her ancestors help her. Like, they didn't ever say, well, like, this ancestor gives you healing, and this ancestor gives you this, and this ancestor gives you this, and now you have, let our powers combine. Like, go Echo. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened. right?
Mhm.
And then her ability to just take that joint and transfer it to other people. Says who? Guess who?
Nobody has said how this power works. She's just doing stuff at this point.
The ancestors
See,
said
listen,
that's who.
No, she looked at them and was like, "Trust me, body, I got this."
Trust what?
And they gave
They
them the
know.
glow.
When their hands started glowing, how they know what to do? How they know what to do? Like I don't.
Oh. They just saw them just light up.
Maybe they
Oh,
just felt it
let
from
me-
the ancestors. I don't know.
I don't know. I need a director's cut of these 5 episodes. I don't know. Make these shows give us more of that cutting room stuff, because
I will say this: it did appear to me again that they left someone else out because, just like you said, Joe, he had the thing. He put the little like contact in her eye. You know what I mean? And then she said to him, like, you couldn't even, like, he's like, I love you, whatever. And she's like, you couldn't even bother to learn to sign, you know, whatever. But then at the very end, he's signing to her.
signing.
Like
Yeah.
everything he's saying, he's signing. I'm like, so did he go learn? Like, did he do that? And then he knows sign language anyway? I don't understand. So did he put the eye? Why is she still wearing that joint? Like, I would have been took that joint out my eye, dog.
She did
Like,
get rid of that jump.
dog, she went, listen, when?
Yeah.
When she was going to the
When she went back to him,
when she left and she went to that diner to get ready to went in where she was eating at, she stopped at the trash can and took that joint out and threw it in the trash can.
when she talked to him, yeah, when she talked to him the next day, like she went back to visit him the next day, she still had to join in, right? Like he was talking to her in the room when he gave her the hammer or whatever. She still had to join in. I'm just like, wait, why?
Yeah, you're right, Joe. She doing it in the trash can.
Mhm.
Right. That was after that happened, when she made the decision that she wasn't gonna go with him.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was going to the diner and getting ready to leave town or whatever, and then, you know, she had to come back to save everybody.
Where was she going?
Back to New
She
York.
didn't want
I don't
no
know.
parts. I
Right?
don't
Didn't they
know.
make it look like she was just leaving? Like she wasn't going with him, but she
Yeah,
wasn't
she was just
staying in
leaving,
town.
yeah.
She was on a motorcycle leaving. Where are you going?
Don't make sense to go back to New York because that's where Kingpin is.
Right. They made it seem like she was, like they cut it to make it seem like she was on the motorcycle to go to him, like to meet him at the joint. And then they show her, it says leaving to Homo or whatever. And then they call Kingpin and tell him, you know,
She gone.
we
Can't
tailed
do
her,
it.
but she gone. That's what he said. Well, sorry, boss. We tailed her, but she gone.
My man lost it.
Where did she go? Where did she go, bruh?
She was
Because
getting
in the
low.
next episode, Kingpin is just like, oh, all right, well, we gonna run this down. He knocking mail out her grandmother's hand and just like, I'm gonna pick up and talk to you about your grandmother and you know what I'm saying, or whatever. And like, she just, where'd she go?
I don't know.
All right,
There's another thing they left on the cutting room floor.
you know where we going? Home, away from this.
So let's wrap this up, gentlemen. What are our final scores taking this one out? I am still at a 6.
I'm still at a 7. I enjoyed it, even with all the flaws and everything in there. But yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's a 6.
All right.
I can't go higher than that. I feel like that would be, for all of the things I did like, I liked them all the way up to a 6, maybe
Okay.
up to a 7, and all the things I didn't like was like, nah, push that back.
Yeah.
Jump back.
Push that back, though. That last episode, bro, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I was hot. I was hot, bro. Like I was
too.
cursing at that. I was like, what was that book? That was a book. Like, what was that?
Dog.
I was so upset.
I wasn't expecting that joint to be as
honestly
short as it was. I watched that
Yeah.
joint on my lunch break, and then I'm thinking, all right, bet I'm about to watch this take like my whole 3/4 of my lunch break. I'm like, bro, I barely got through half my lunch break on this.
I'm gonna keep it a buck, dog. I think that is the single worst episode of all the Disney TV show joints, all the MCU TV shows. I think that last episode of Echo is the worst episode of all of them joints. That joint might be worse than the worst episodes of Boba Fett.
Oh. Ooh.
Oh
Keep
God.
it a buck. Keep it a buck.
Well, Y'all heard it here first. Last episode worse than Boba Fett. So until next time, we will catch you later, everybody. Deuces.
Loading snacks.